Let's build the most epic play structure for your kids. All you need is a saw and a drill because this is a total beginner level project. I'll take you through step by step to show you how I made everything from the base to the slide and even the roof. You're going to create the best memories with your kids this summer. First, let's tackle the base. For reference, I think you need about 20 feet wide to make this play structure, just given the rock climbing wall and also the slide. I also have a really detailed blog post with a cut list, and you can find that below. For the base, you need 2x4s and 4x4 posts. After cutting these all, I laid them out to make sure that it would be a good size for our backyard. My biggest concern of making this was whether I would have to dig deep holes into my backyard, and I didn't. I ended up picking up these blocks from Home Depot, and you can actually just slide your wood right into them. This was my first time doing a project this big, but one thing I quickly learned was you need pilot holes, and then you need a really good impact driver to drive the screws. I really went down a rabbit hole to figure out the best types of screws because you want to make sure this obviously doesn't fall apart, and it's going to be standing for many years, so I've linked all that below. Step 2, build a structure to support the base. This is pretty cool, and it's actually starting to look like a play structure. If you have a second person to help you, it would be so much easier, but my husband had to actually watch my kids, so I had to build a lot of this on my own. After I cut the pieces needed for the support, I drilled them into the posts, making sure that they were level. Now, the one thing I would go back and do differently is I would also use a speed square. So just a little tip if you have to do this on your own, I attached those by just supporting them on an angled piece of wood so that they could hold them up while I drilled it in. You could also use clamps, I just didn't have any at this time. Step 3, let's build the deck of the play structure. I used 2x8s to make the deck for the play structure. Now you can use 2x2s or 2x6s, but this was just what they had available, and I thought it would be more sturdy, and I like the look of bigger planks. To make sure that the base would fit, I laid out all my planks as I cut them. You also want to allow for a little gap between all the boards so that the water can go through, and in my case also snow since I live in Canada. I want to make sure that all the planks facing forward, like not the back of the play structure, were actually straight, so I made sure those were all level before I attached them into the base of the deck. Because I'm extra cautious, I decided that halfway through this, maybe we should actually have a support brace that goes underneath the platform, so I had my husband cut that. I wanted to get my son involved in this project too because it would be such a special memory, so I had him use an impact driver to drive in some of the screws too. Two of the planks of the base have to be cut a little bit shorter just so they fit in between the posts of the play structure. Let's get to this very exciting part of attaching the slide. We debated a lot whether we wanted to have a slide or a swing because we only had enough space for one, but I thought the slide would be just so much more fun for the kids. Now, before you actually attach the slide, you need to make some stakes, and these attach into the slide, and then you stake them down into the ground, and this prevents the bottom of the slide from shifting around. My husband used a hammer to stake it into the ground, and we also attached the slide using these bolts. These are the special screws you need for the slide, so they've got this really big head and really thick threading, and that's to make sure you stay safe, right? These are the instructions that come with your slide, so just follow the instructions based on whatever slide you choose. And when it was done, my kids were so excited and they had to test it out. Next, the kids need a way to get onto the play structure, so we're going to build the stairs. And for me, this was the hardest part because of the math, but I've already got that figured out for you. The main structure of the stairs is made with two 45-degree angles on each side, and it should be shaped like a trapezoid. To attach the stairs into the play structure, I had to add another 2x4. One of them wasn't wide enough to hold the stairs, so that's why I doubled it up and added 2. After I cut 2 pieces of the stair frames, then I was ready to attach them to the play structure. Screw them in from the back of the play structure and made sure that the screws were really secure because I didn't want this to fall down at any time. I used a 2x2 spacer to make sure that the stairs were level, and I built them from the bottom up. I made sure I tested the stairs out first before any of my kids did, just in case it collapsed, but luckily it didn't. Next, let's build a railing. You can build any type of design for your railing. I wanted to keep these horizontal slats because I wanted it to look like that modern kind of playhouse. I attached alternating different sizes of slats to the 4x4 posts. I decided to paint the railings beforehand just because I thought it would be easier than actually painting it after. So I used an outdoor paint, and this is a Sherwin-Williams paint. And it almost looked like a navy blue, but it's actually tricorn black. It's just the way that the outdoor paint shows. So I had my son help me paint all of the slats for the railing, and then we also painted the slats for the roof too, because that's the next step, and then we're done. So I attached the railing both to the front side where the stairs are and also to the slide, and I attached them using screws underneath on the bottom. I just drove the screws upwards and made sure that the railing was really sturdy. And then on the other side, I attached the screws right into those long posts. The play structure is not even done, but as you can see, my kids were so excited to use it. This was such a fun project, and it really challenged my skills, and I'm so excited to be able to share it with you so you can also build it for your kids. I also added a back wall to the play structure so the kids wouldn't fall off. And I actually made this a whole wall so that they would get some privacy when they're playing up there, but I followed the same kind of design as the railing. Next, I added a really cool rock climbing feature, which was much requested by my kids. I kind of made a mistake when I started this rock climbing wall where I thought I would just add a small strip, but then as you can see, my son is helping me here and he's like, "Mommy, can you make it bigger so I can go taller?" And so then I ended up adding a second section as well. Now I could have taken them all down, but just the cost of this lumber was getting to be really expensive, so I just used the scraps that I had. These are the rocks that I got from Amazon, so I'll link them below. They're just really cute and colorful, and I've had this play structure for 5 years, and the color has really held up. It came with the screws and the drill bit to make the holes too, because these are really heavy duty. I didn't exactly plan out how I was going to attach these. I just kind of thought about where my kids' feet and hand placement should be. Now, I wanted to make sure this was friendly for both my 5-year-old and also my 2-year-old at the time. Let me slow it down and show you how to make this slower. Okay, so start off by making the holes. These holes actually take a while to drill through. Once you've got your hole drilled through, you take your rock and you put them through. And then because I marked it before, they should just line right up. And there's like different ways you can orient them, right? So I'm actually playing around with orientation. If you put them this way, it's better for the kids to hold. If you put them this way, it's better for their shoes to sit in there. And then you just tighten it from the back and you screw in the anchor. The bottom section of the rock climb wall is done, but I'm also going to add a vertical section as well so that the kids can climb taller. I think it's easiest to build the roof of the play structure on the ground and then place it on top. So I started off by cutting the pieces and then painting them. Man, you won't believe what happened. Mikhail was so nicely painting, I came over to paint and I spilled the can. Yeah. So, that's not good. I flipped the boards upside down and then I attached them to 2x4s so that they would actually make the structure of the roof. I'm adding a roof to my play structure so that it blocks some of the sunlight so that my kids can play in there longer. I also envision in the future that they'll hang out, take their books outside, and read out there. We added a support brace to each side to make sure that the play structure roof had something to hold on to. After we screwed them into each side, it was time for us to put the roof up. Moment of truth, would this fit? No, it didn't fit. So the biggest problem here was that we didn't use a speed square the whole way through, so I really recommend using a speed square. You can see that it's just not fitting on the roof, so we took it off the roof and then I put each slat up onto the roof, and I think that just worked a lot better to make sure that it would fit. Once the roof went up, I decided to extend the privacy wall in the back, and then we also framed out the roof just to make it look a little bit neater on all the edges. This detail of the privacy wall is actually so cool. I really love how it came together. For a little while, we didn't have railings on the stairs, but I felt so paranoid every time my kids were playing on it. I actually would go and stand beside them, which kind of defeated the purpose of letting them play. So I added some railings just with 2x2 posts. I cut the vertical pieces on a 45-degree angle, and then I just attached them right to the stairs and the post. This is actually so cute, but I know my kids would love it if I added something really special, like a little restaurant down below in that nook. I wanted the restaurant to be really brightly colored because I actually imagined it to be more like an ice cream store. So I colored them these cute colors, and then I had to attach them to the frame. I added a little counter, and to support the counter, I just used a little piece of wood on a 45-degree angle. And I thought that'd be really cute to also add a little canopy, so I did that. And I painted the inside of the restaurant too, because every ice cream store looks really cute when you're inside of it. And here it is, the entire play structure. I absolutely love this. My kids have enjoyed this for 5 years, and I have a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and they all love to play on this together. In the summer times, we host birthdays and parties here. It's a central activity for my kids in the summer. After school, they can go out here. I don't need to worry about them. It's easy to keep an eye on them since they are fenced in. And trust me, I know there's a lot of steps to this project, but it is a beginner level project that I really think anyone can do. And I've got all the detailed cut list and steps on my blog, so make sure you check that out. If you love this project, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you for my next DIY.